Okay, so I like your topic. I learned a lot about the fintech, the three generation, about how they progress. So I would like to start it with a question. I want to. It's not really a question. It's just a comment about what you have been analyzing about gamification. Essentially, is a approach to lure or to make the customer want to engage more in the trading, and so of course this is going to help their revenue, especially if they're doing this kind of pay for routing, whatever. They're controversial, they got fined. So in my mind, this is only ethical if the company, when they're doing this, they need to do it in a very transparent way. What do I mean by transparent way? It means that for me to engage more or less, what will be the disadvantage for me financially? If I'm actually engaged, I make more money, great. I mean, I need to know that. I need to know some information. Of course, financial investigation is always unpredictable, but we would like to know the difference between a more of a traditional analysis. They try to balance portfolio, or mutual fund. They try to do this. I mean, of course, mutual fund is totally a different risk character. But also it's interesting to know, I think transparent, I would like to know how much money they make through this process. I know they might not want to do that, but in some way they need to reveal the information. I mean, how much revenue of this company is actually from this particular feature, for example. And so that's something which when I read it, I mean, I'm not an expert, and I'm not sure you guys have any answer, but I personally, as a ethic topic, I usually feel transparency gave us a lot of power to understand whether something is ethical or not. I mean, because I'm always promote deontology. In deontology, I want to have autonomous reasoning, which that's why I think that information. That's my feedback from when I read the whole approach about gamification. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something we came to as well when we were identifying the ethics of using individual components. Like I mean, in our presentation, which I think we'll do in a sec, like one of the things that I say is, okay, we need to find out where does the company's revenue come from so we can see what their motive is. And then if that motive isn't transparent, if that, like, which in Robinhood's case, it isn't, because Robinhood's motive is to get more frequent trades, then we see it, being unethical. But in the instances where the company's motive and the user's motive, aligned, then the company the gamification practice was ethical because it felt like they were taking into consideration what their user wanted, even if it was just because the user and them had the same goal, but they still were, benefiting that user. So that's when it became ethical.
Yeah. And we didn't want to get too much into the whole like following the money, because that would steer the conversation away from gamification, because the whole transaction flow or payment for order flow, which Robinhood uses with the main customer being Citadel Security, is a huge issue, because payment of order flow is the same thing that Bernie Madoff created, right, and who went to jail. So it's like we're getting into, following the money and understand, like, that should be transparent. That needs to be clear, which Robinhood, Ayush just said, they're not clear about how they're doing, making the money. And that, yeah. So that part, yeah. Answer to your comment.
Okay, so I think you guys can go ahead, start. I already allow you to share the screen.
Okay,
we already recording. Right, that's great.
Alrighty, here we go. Three. Okay, today our presentation is on gamification and fintech. Fintech is the idea of using technologies to handle financial services in the financial industry. And fintech, according to researchers at the University of Wales, can be split into 3 different eras. Fintech 3.0 being the most disruptive and occurred after the financial crisis of 2008. In result of the financial crisis, we started seeing a lot of startups handling financial services. And some of these financial services are mobile wallet and payment, crowdfunding platform, cryptocurrency, and stock trading. And the thing that is really common in all these fintech apps is the technique of gamification.
So we can define gamification as like the use of video game elements in a non-video game environment setting to create a perceived values. So elements such as points or leaderboards, leveling up, competition and teamwork, goals and game level, rewards and achievements are all what are included in these type of like products and services. And these characteristics creates more engagements into those products and services to create retention. So for our problem statement, we identified that as digital banking becomes the forefront in which people interact with their finances, gamification becomes more and more involved, which later can become more concerning.
So here's some examples of how gamification is actually implemented in the fintech industry. We talk about Robinhood a lot. Robinhood is definitely one of the biggest fintech companies in this new era. Something that they do is they gamify the UI and they create like a casino-like experience. So when you buy stocks, you're rewarded with confetti, or when you do like get gift boxes, you get notifications. You get all these things that kind of try to draw the user back in. Digit and Mint and Acorns, they use kind of a reward system, which is another tactic that is really popular. When users complete certain goals or certain save a certain amount of money, they'll get points or rewards or badges that they can use to spend on other things. Like BBVA, which is a big bank in Spain, they something similar where they added an educational component so people can play puzzles, play games, watch videos, and get a lot of like points where they can use to get football tickets or movie tickets. And they're promoting the financial industry of Spain at the same time. The last gamification aspect we want to talk about is social environment and creating a social platform. A lot of companies are trying to find this gold mine, which is combining investing and social media. So they add these social platforms where users can comment, like, post, share, and also they can copy other users' trading techniques. So now I want to take a look, are these gamification tactics ethical? Like I mentioned, that we want to ask 2 big questions here: is the agenda transparent? Is the company's agenda transparent to the user? Are they given full information about how gamification, what's happening? And then we also want to see where that company's revenue is from, so we can see what their agenda really is. So for Robinhood, we talked about payment for order flow, which is kind of a trade that they do where they give a big market maker all their trades that their users have made, and they get a cash money in return. So they want to incentivize frequent trades. That's what they make their money from. But with their UI tricks that they do with the confetti and with just making like a casino, the investor becomes the player, and they don't really understand the risk or the tax implications of all this frequent trading. So a lot of traders are left with tax nightmares after doing thousands of trades in a year. In fact, even last year, Robinhood had to remove the confetti under a lawsuit, but that's just like a small change. Like in general, they're still doing all of that gamification. So we kind of said that their gamification is unethical because they aren't, regarding their users' best interests, and they're not being fully transparent with what they're doing and how they're making money. Now, for rewards systems and in a saving context and for budgeting, like we said, Acorn, Mint, Digit, BBVA, they are like banks where they make more money that the more money is being saved. They make money off interest. They make money off small, transaction fees. They want more money in their system which is a goal that's similar to the user, which is who wants more money for them saved in that bank. So because they're kind of their motives are very similar, it allows this collaboration between the user and the company. Like, I'll help you, you'll help me. So the company's best interest is for the user to make money. So they want to gamify it and help the user make money because it makes them money as well. Which is why we said, that's the ethical use of a gamification practice. And then for social environment, it was a little more tricky, I think. From a social platform like eToro, the company wants more users. They will get more money from higher traffic of the app. They want more people, making trades, but also just like being in it. And they also want people who are going to be popular traders. So if you're an investor that's making a lot of money, they want to pay you to be on their platform so that other people can follow you and copy your trading habits. So what we kind of said then is, well, let's see, how does incentivizing high traffic and high user traffic affect each user? And I came to a conclusion that it doesn't really, having that social aspect of the app isn't really helping or hurting the user in any way. It's not some kind of like helping them some hidden agenda. The responsibility of trading does not really fall on them. If a user wants to trade more because it's social, that just means that they might want to trade more because they want to do better than their friends, or they might trade less because they don't want to be risky and be losing more than their friends. But I really think that matters on the individual and how much they care about other people and how much they care about that social aspect. The company is just adding that service in, but it's not. I don't think it encourages trade in any way or encourages any kind of behavior. It really just takes advantage of something that we already all have, which is social behavior. So from that, I said, I concluded it is an ethical use of gamification because it's not actively taking advantage of the users.
In conclusion, gamification is not going anywhere. As fintech companies keep competing, the technique of gamification has helped their platforms reach more users and keep constant users. So it sounds like an issue, but one thing we could ask for is that these fintech companies being more transparent on their motives and what they want. So it would allow users like us to understand what these apps are trying to do and help us make decisions that best reflect our own self-interest. Thank you so much for listening. Any questions, Professor?
Yeah, some question I'd like to follow up with your presentation. For gamification, this sector, what is the percentage of the money or transaction we're talking about compared to the rest of the, say, the online stock trading, or compared to the whole market? I mean, roughly, do you have some idea? Is this a really small percentage, or it's growing?
Are you talking for Robinhood? I know that 74% of their income is from these transactions, in which we mentioned.
I'm not talking about Robinhood's revenue. I'm talking about the money you and I put in. For example, when I do online trading, I'm not going to use gamification. I'm going to use some other kind of traditional service because I just want to invest in a way that I like to invest. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that how do we know how much of the market in general, in the stock trading market, is being somehow influenced by gamification? And will that percentage grow or will be stabilized?
I can't give you an exact number, but I know, like, for example, with the whole GameStop thing that happened over last year, at least 80% of those trades were being done on Robinhood. itself. And I think that's just a,
that's
quick
huge.
example. Yeah, it's a quick example
huge.
of like where those trades are being happened. I'll double check that number for you though, but I think it's going to increase more and more like that for apps like Robinhood and eToro, where now it's making it easier for them to invest as well and simpler. They're just going to go to those apps and they're going to make those moves on there. And I think that's just what the GameStop thing showed, is that all of the people who were involved in that Reddit group were going straight to Robinhood and making those trades.
Wow, that they're basically dominant in this sector of that. Then that's actually very serious, actually, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah, that's
troublesome.
Yeah, well, I'm actually thinking about what will be your guess of fintech 4.0.
4.0.
Right.
I think we're something decentralized probably, but we're so early in 3.0. Like it's only been like 14 years. So it's like we haven't even seen like the peak of 3.0.
Right. So the way I look at 3.0 is a environment that's we use mobile technology to be able to allow individual of us to investigate. The reason I'm asking for 4.0 is I'm actually thinking about, I would like to have my own AI machine to actually doing a lot of data analytics and to actually tell me what could be the advices I can receive about what I should do, what I shouldn't do. For example, should I trade that frequent? I mean, when I listen to gamification is essentially trigger me to potentially, I don't know the detail, I'm just guessing, trigger me to make certain unnecessary trading, which is something which I could have been warned if I have some human or machine advisor to actually be more of a financial expert about the matter. And the thing is that so far, of course, the big firm, they're using AI technology to analyze a lot of things. And I think because of the, what I call it, how do I pick the word to, the development, the availability of the technology, I think is going to be very possible for individual of us to be able to interact, to be able to do that. And then I think that could be another thing, which is balance whatever the disadvantage that gamification is coming to us. Otherwise, it's a trouble. 80% is growing. Essentially, everybody is being controlled. If you want to do this kind of individual investment, if they did anything small, it's going to affect a huge percentage of the population in this market here.
Also, I would like to just add a comment. I think we saw that it's kind of hypocritical of Robinhood to want investors to actively be making trades. However, in the GameStop saga, when the I forgot the agency, but because the stock was getting too high, they had to put more money down for I forgot the word, but when the value goes up, they have to provide more money in case of it was to for someone to be responsible, and that's when Robinhood had to freeze the GameStop from people buying, and so they can raise the money. And that's where the CEO came out. It was like, we raised, I think, $2 billion in 2 nights was the collateral. There you go. The agency wanted, because the stock went up high, they had to put more money down for the collateral. So it's kind of weird. It was like, okay, Robinhood wants to use it to trade as much as possible, but not one stock. That I thought was interesting. Like, it could be as long as it's diverse amount of stocks, that's fine. But the Wall Street bets, they doubled down on a few stocks, and Robinhood was not okay with that. So now it's like, that's kind of hypocritical, right? They're using gamification, getting us to, make as many transactions. Just they prefer not to be one or two stocks.
Right. So this actually shows both the potential negative impact about this kind of platform, this way of doing investment, but also showing that Robinhood actually has a power to actually be able to control some of the free market in this way.
Yes.
So that's interesting. I don't want to say anything one way or the other, but it looks to me
it gets
very dangerous.
Darker. Yeah. It gets pretty dark when you get into that whole collateral and when Citadel gets into the picture with Robinhood.
We need to actually think about a very clear ethics story for this sector of fintech market. Otherwise, a very bad thing will happen very soon. It's already happened, right? It's already happened. Yeah. But worse stuff will happen.
I mean, the fact that Melvin Capital lost so much money, which was part of Citadel. So Citadel Securities is what Robinhood pays routes our trades. So Citadel Securities is the middle market maker. However, Citadel, the big corporation, also had Melvin Capital, who was trying to short squeeze GameStop. And they lost a lot of money. So you see this like collaboration of like, they are the market makers, but then also they're the one telling, their smaller hedge funds to short squeeze GameStop. It's very, you're right about fintech needs to get things straightened out, because that is, I thought it would be considered corruption or even.
Yeah, I think the regulation is actually pretty new to the stock exchange. How do they regulate this kind of behavior? Both the company and the platform, and because they're okay.
So
okay, that's great. I mean, thank you for educating me on this topic, and I really appreciate. This is a pretty new topic to me. I should be interested, or should have been, but I didn't pay attention to this particular sector. But I learned a lot from your project. Thank you for all three of you. And I'm going to end this here and to upload the video. I thought you guys are okay, right?
Yeah.
All right. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm really glad that to have you in this quarter, and hopefully we can continue to talk. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Professor.